Welcome all WBGU viewers here on YouTube. We're here for game 2 of the 3 games we have tonight. This one being the Heidelberg Student Princes versus the Ursuline Arrows. This one started a little earlier than expected. Heidelberg's already gotten a first down, but we're right back in action here on 3rd down. Snap will be taken by number 17. Pass thrown to number 3, Alexia Coleman. It doesn't look like it was completed, just a little bit short. Playing quarterback today for Heidelberg is Maddie Springer. Alongside her, you have number 35, Olivia Dule, number 26, Cami Wickens, number 10, Livy Matthews, among others. Springer takes a snap, looks, runs a bit, shove passes here to Cami Wickens. Who'll get stopped shortly, maybe a little afterwards of where she ran. We're now here on 4th down. We'll see what the offense does here. The other 2 starters here for Heidelberg's offense are number 16, Haley Damron, and number 3, Alexia Coleman. Springer takes a snap, runs to her left, tosses, and it's caught by Cami Wickens, who's running. She's at the 40, 30. She's still going near the end zone. Touchdown Heidelberg. Wickens with 2 receptions on this drive, both of which gives them first downs. This one, a touchdown. Heidelberg leads 6-0. We'll see with the try here. Just a reminder for all those who just now joining, there are no field goals, no extra points, and no kickoffs, just punts. So there will be tries. From the 3-yard line gives them 1 point. From the 10 gives them 2. Looks like this will be from the 10. They can either run it or pass it here. Springer takes a snap, runs to her right, tosses it up. Nearly picked off by Bridget Bogdan, but it doesn't go. The score stays 6-0 Heidelberg, as Ursuline will get the ball on the 14. Now let's take a look at Ursuline's lineup. Still at QB, we have Keziah Miner. Still Brooklyn Shropshire Turman, number 2 there. Number 3, we have Ellie Zoeckler. Bridget Bogdan, as you just heard. Maddie Hampton, who had lots of receptions last game, still in at center. And we can't forget about the defensive powerhouse of Isabella Brancanti. We'll start here on 1st down. Miner waiting. Miner takes a snap. Miner goes to a QB sneak. She tries to run outside, but it's grabbed by Cami Wickens. Solid gain there. We're going to toss it to a break here real quick. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
Founded in the Midwest, Bowling Green State University is embracing innovation to push the norms of higher education. Academic programs that are in high demand, research that is relevant for our communities, partnerships that strengthen our economy. Nationally recognized for our student experience and home to one of the largest scholarship programs of its kind in the nation. We are a hard-working public university, always striving forward, always for the public good.
Hello and welcome all WBGU viewers here on YouTube. We are here on the campus of Bowling Green State University as the Ursuline Arrows take on the Heidelberg Student Princes. I'm Grady Lautenslager. Thank you so much for joining, and I'm here joined by Carter Leonard.
Yeah, Grady, it's great to be up here right now. I just got back to the top of the booth here after taking the break during the intermission between last game, but here back now and ready to get the ball rolling once again.
I want to go over Ursuline's lineup one more time. Because of the injury to Urtel Easley last game, we won't be seeing her. However, she's being replaced. Unfortunately, she was an impact player for that team last game, and we're going to see how they roll without her this game. However, they still got Miner at quarterback, who we know has the speed, and we'll see how it stacks up against this Heidelberg defense.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough situation when you have a player like Easley of that caliber going down like that, because you saw her on the jet sweep plays, just able to make cuts up the field, show that burst of speed, put on the jets, as the cool cats would call it. But, yeah, just a big loss, but you can only hope that she, will get better as time goes along, because, once again, difficult loss for her.
Yes, it is. Aside from that, though, they're sticking with most of the same starting lineup, only substituting in Natalie McKay here. In the Heidelberg roster, it looks like starters will be number 5, Maddie Brillhart, number 20, Faith Brown. Number 26 was out on the field, unfortunately getting hurt. That was Cammie Wickens, already having a touchdown this game. Number 35 on the field, Olivia Dulé. And I believe Olivia Blackburn's out there, number 25. And then we're going to come back to a break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Founded in the Midwest, Bowling Green State University is embracing innovation to push the norms of higher education. Academic programs that are in high demand, research that is relevant for our communities, partnerships that strengthen our economy. Nationally recognized for our student experience and home to one of the largest scholarship programs of its kind in the nation. We are a hard-working public university, always striving forward, always for the public good.
Welcome back, all WBGU viewers. I'm Grady Lautenslager, joined alongside color commentator Carter Leonard. Last game was a really good one. BG coming out strong, I believe 28-6. Offense was working, offense was looking good, but there was some promise for Ursuline as well, and we're going to see if they put it together against Heidelberg. But looking back on that previous game, what did you gather?
Bowling Green dominance start to finish. You really saw them really execute well on both sides of the ball, whether it was offense, getting points, whether it was defense, coming up with a lot of turnovers. Defense especially, I would say, was probably the big takeaway for that Falcon squad. But in the shoes of Ursuline, you look at this game against Heidelberg as, a redemption game for the most part, but of course Heidelberg already being up 6-0, so it's going to be, if it wasn't already tough sledding for the Arrows so far, it definitely is right now, but it's still very early in this game, so a lot can happen from here on out.
Yes, it can. And just to update you all, the last starter here on Heidelberg's defense will be number 24, Jewel Persinger, as it looks like the injured player has gotten off on their own will and walked off, which is always great to see. sorry for the technical difficulties and the delay here, but we're getting right back into action. We haven't missed anything, so don't you worry. Refs are walking back on the field. Injuries have been taken care of, and we can continue this first quarter.
Look like both teams were just having fun with each other here, just enjoying a nice Saturday evening here on the campus of BGSU.
And why not? Everybody loves flag football. As you see number 5 there hitting the worm for Heidelberg, that would be Lisa Noga. Pardon, that was Maddie Brilhart.
A couple of the players busting some dance moves there. Better than me. I will just leave it at that.
Yeah, they're being sent to their respective benches as the referees talk. I don't know what could be happening here, but we will make sure to let you know as soon as we do. I would assume action should begin again shortly.
And you can only imagine what the conversation going on right there is. Of course, we had that injury timeout. You could correct me on who the name.
Yeah, that was Cammie Wickens, number 26.
Yeah, Cammie Wickens. She was able to get off the field under her own power. One of the trainers was able to come and check on her, and she was able to walk off the field. But this ref conversation may be a little bit of a different ordeal here, as we have another individual, a staff member, it looks like, on the field as well. Interested to see what exactly that is. And while we're on hold now for game, if anybody wants to check on their March Madness, earlier today, number 1 ranked Michigan won 95-72 over St. Louis. Currently, right now, we have 2 games going on both CBS and TNT. Duke is currently leading number 9 TCU 68-50, while the other game, which is number 2 Houston against number 10 Texas A&M, Houston leads 46-28 at the half. So, trying to keep the crowd entertained, Grady, while we're under this little break right here. We also have Gonzaga and Texas going on right now. Gonzaga leads 18-15 as the first half with little over 9 minutes to go. You have Michigan State, who came out on top against Louisville today, 77-69. Illinois and VCU will be coming up later tonight at 7:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Vanderbilt, Nebraska at 8:45. High Point in Arkansas at 9:45. And those are currently the March Madness updates for anybody out there loving good old March Madness basketball.
And as action begins to resume here, we get back to our first quarter. It's snapped by Hampton. Looks like Bogdan's in at quarterback. The handoff here. Looks like they made a minor switch, putting Meyer in at running back. We'll see how that works out for them later in the game. I think that might be a smart move. What about you, Carter?
Yeah, it's very interesting to see Bridget Bogdan, number 18, was able to get the snap there, and you saw Minor in the backfield there. So you mentioned it, definitely a bit of a switch up here for the Ursuline team here. It'll be interesting to see how big of a role that plays. We all know, as we mentioned numerous times tonight, the speed that Minor has.
This will be a first down. It's another handoff to Minor. Breaks upfield. Tries to get by Persinger and does, but her flag is grabbed by Maddie Brilhart. Once again, using the speed of Minor to their advantage. Maybe this is what they need to do to come back from last game.
Yeah, and you really have to wonder with these run plays, too, if they don't try to do a little bit of up the gut, if you will. Like, don't get me wrong, bouncing around the outside has played a big advantage for the Arrows, but going up the gut where it normally hurts is truly a classic move, so it'll be interesting to see how that works.
Minor back at quarterback now, hands off to Turman, who gets around, still going, and her flag is grabbed by number 35 there. That would be Olivia Dule.
Yeah, a great stop by Dule right there.
Almost saving a touchdown there. They might have gotten in there. Minor takes a snap, hands off to Turman again, who gets around. 2 defenders to beat. sticks it in. It'll be close. They're going to call a touchdown here by Turman. This will tie the game up at 6 for each.
Looked like the defender right there got the flag in time before she was able to break the plane.
It was definitely a close one. Ref called a touchdown, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, the initial touchdown really call came on the far end of the field from that one judge there. So, but a big momentum booster for the Arrows here.
They'll be doing a 1-point attempt from the 3-yard line. Once again, to remind you, this has to be a pass. And it's short, so the game will stay tied to 6. Both teams failing to make their after-point tries. However, this game is still tied, and the ball goes back to Heidelberg, and we'll see how they do.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad read from Miner right there. Looks like she tried to get it out to Natalie McKay right there, but it was just a low ball there for where McKay was running towards. Had that ball had been a little bit higher up, had a little bit more distance on it, that could have been a point for Ursuline there to really take the lead here as it sits tied right now.
And just to remind you all, the coach of Ursuline, that would be Ashley Sheelatz, and Alex Castro is the coach of Heidelberg. As a flag is thrown, it looks like it'll be a false start on Heidelberg here.
And that has definitely been the most common penalty that we have seen tonight, the false starts. Whether it was in game 1 between Bowling Green and Ursuline or right now with Ursuline against Heidelberg.
Not a lot of calls defensively either. As Turman just rushes the backfield immediately, getting Springer's flag out, and that'll be the first sack of the game.
From my vantage point, it looked like Turman, while the flag wasn't thrown, it looked like she could have gotten off the line just a tiny bit early, but not enough to where the officials really saw anything too egregious.
Springer runs into trouble again. Just overthrown. That target was number 35, Olivia Dulé. Would have gotten them the first down, too.
And a great job by her just evading the pressure right there. And just had that been a little bit more far out in front, that could have been, as you mentioned, a big-time first down, but to no avail.
Caught by number 17, Maddie Springer. Little quarterback catching action. That gets him near the first down, just about a yard or so short. Made to Maddie Brillhart, number 5, just a little short. Maybe they got it. We'll see what the refs call here. Rather than try the 4th and inches, it looks like they're going for the punt here. Not a bad decision with being on their own side of the field, but what did you gather from those free plays from Heidelberg there?
I think it was just a little bit of struggle just moving the ball down the field there. I think Ursuline did a really good job defensively, and that's something that they really needed to get going in this game, to keep Heidelberg on their toes, so to speak, and just overall a great defensive stop that would have been a punt, but looks like we have a timeout here.
Yes, it does. Should be a short one, but however, we were going to go to break, and we will be right back. Don't miss a thing. Still tied 6-6, signing off.
Founded in the Midwest, Bowling Green State University is embracing innovation to push the norms of higher education. Academic programs that are in high demand, research that is relevant for our communities, partnerships that strengthen our economy. Nationally recognized for our student experience and home to one of the largest scholarship programs of its kind in the nation. We are a hardworking public university, always striving forward, always for the public good.
Hello guys and welcome back, all WBGU viewers on YouTube. And timeouts have commenced. Heidelberg and Ursuline are coming back out on the field. And let's finish this first quarter.
As the sun continues to set, right behind us, a beautiful shot that, of course, that is following right behind us here. You can see the reflection off the brick building of the Perry Fieldhouse behind us, but you only have to imagine when the lights really start to come on here on this turf field.
Miner back at quarterback. Passes to Eckler there. And this will be second down here for Ursuline. Second and goal. Ursuline seems to be doing a lot better than last game. Seems to have shaken off the cobwebs.
It looks like that's the end of the quarter right there.
Yes, it is. So what did you gather here from that first quarter?
Well, if I'm going to be honest, I joined halfway through after that little intermission break. But no, I think the point just goes back to how Ursuline handled themselves in the first quarter, just being able to really move the ball a little bit better than they did against Bowling Green. Now that they're in a tied situation here, now is the time for them in the rest of this first half to really take advantage and to not look back here. So it'll be interesting to see how they'll continue throughout the rest of the night. But you know Heidelberg is not going to go down without a fight here.
No, they aren't. One thing that's interested me is both teams are switching up quarterbacks. Between the plays, we've seen both Coleman and Springer for Heidelberg, and then we've seen Bogdan and Miner at QB for Ursuline in this game.
Yeah, and you know, as we mentioned in the previous game, we saw Heidelberg warm up all the way down the far end of where we're standing here. So Ursuline kind of switching up quarterbacks is a very smart decision, because you don't know if Heidelberg was looking over saying, hey, we got a good idea of what they're going to come with. Let's try to find any way possible on how to stop this here. And you know, the Arrow's doing a great job of keeping them on their toes right now.
Yes, they are. It seems competitive. There's a good balance. We've seen passes. We've seen runs. Unfortunately, there's still no update on what would happen to their receiver, Cammie Wickens, who had an absolute mammoth of a touchdown to start the game. And it looks like the intermission has ended. Second quarter will be starting. Game is still tied 6-6, and we will flip the field here.
With them flipping the field now, it'll be interesting to see how they will try to handle going on the other side of the field here and see if that's their strong suit.
Definitely. And they did, last game on this side, when they played BG, they did seem to look better on this side of the field than the other.
Yeah, that's where they got some of their points from last game, albeit 6. That was when they got into the end zone in that last game. So they're definitely in familiar territory right here, but it's really all about taking advantage of those situations, but we'll see what happens.
Miner comes back, takes a snap, throws. Nearly caught for Bogdan, and that would have been a touchdown. Throw was just a little out in front.
A little bit out in front, but that's still one that you really have to reel in if you're able to get 2 hands on it. I know that it's a very difficult task to do, especially when you're running at a high rate of speed like Bogdan was there, but still, if you get 2 hands on it, you should be able to come down with it, but just missed opportunity right there for Ursuline.
It was a good read, too. And she takes another one, gives it another attempt, runs to her right, flicks it to Hampton, who seemed to be in her favorite today, who gains a few and then gets caught by number 35. That would be Olivia Dulé of Heidelberg. Dulé's made a few tackles already this game. Sorry, flagpoles.
Yeah. And that Miner to Hampton connection is continuing on as we speak, mainly for the fact that when Hampton, obviously she's snapping the ball, but anytime when she does snap it, she's able to gain about a couple yards up the field and then do a hitch or curl route to make it easier for her quarterback.
And Miner steps back. That one looked pretty short. However, the read was good. That one was focused on Natalie McKay, and it makes you wonder if that ball might have been tipped.
Yeah, it looked like the way the ball was kind of soaring in the air, and this is obviously not the case. It looked like it's just like one of those throwaway passes almost, but of course, it was still in reach of Natalie McKay right there, as you mentioned. But yeah, it looked like Miner was getting a lot of pressure there, and she really just had to chuck the ball up to see if anybody was going to come down with it, which is a very dangerous decision, of course, because that can definitely result in a lot of turnovers, as we saw in Game 1. But she should just be thankful that it ended up as a completion there. Otherwise, it could be a different story. But still, Heidelberg offensive ball here.
Yeah, that was a turnover on downs there. Springer back at quarterback. However, subbing in for running back, we have number 16, Haley Damron. Passes to Alexia Coleman after brushing off a pressure. And Coleman, who gets around, stays in bounds. However, there is a flag thrown back towards where she broke off from the line. We'll see what this call could be.
And you could see the frustration on Coleman there after that big play right there. She's just gonna be like, oh no, why? Of all times where we didn't need a penalty, that happened. So tough break for Heidelberg right there, but you'll have to regroup and see what you could do here.
It turns from a first down to a loss of 5 here. And since they lost their receiver to injury, we really haven't seen much from the pass game either.
No, definitely not. When you're limited to as many players as you can on the field and you're limited to your weapons, you take away that best weapon in Wickens, it's really, you know, a tough sight to see.
And Coleman didn't see the handoff coming, and the ball is bobbled. However, it is immediately jumped on by Springer, and it looks like they will keep possession. Springer takes a snap, tosses it to Coleman, who tries to get through Hampton and Brancanti. Unfortunately wasn't able to, still picks up a couple, making this 4th down try a lot better than it could have been.
At the end there, after Coleman let the ball go to the Brown, looked like she came away with a little bit of a limp there, which can definitely happen on the turf field because it's so stiff to move on as opposed to natural grass.
Yes, it is. It's something you got to keep an eye on and be careful about, not only as an athlete but as a coach, seeing what can happen. As that pass is thrown, that goes to Dule, who gets herself in a jam on the sideline but stays in bounds and is tackled by 5, and a flag is thrown. That was Lisa Noga on the tackle, which shouldn't be in flag football.
I can almost guarantee that it really wasn't that intentional.
It didn't look like it.
It didn't look like it was intentional in the first place, but of course you have to throw the flag there for unnecessary roughness there in the world of flag football. But you gotta give credit to Olivia Dule there, you know, because it looked like when she caught the pass, she went backwards, and you're thinking, why are you going backwards there? You should be going forward, but she was able to work around the outside and make a couple defenders miss. So it turned away from being a bad situation into positive yardage there. But 9 times out of 10, that's not the scenario you want to be in. But props to Dule for making the best out of a bad situation.
Not only that, she practically walked on a tightrope just to stay in bounds.
Exactly.
This will be a first down for them. They hand it off to Dule, but Turman gets there instantly, and they lose maybe 1, if not stay with no gain.
And you want to talk about Turman coming in a hurry right there. I mean, just instantaneous is the right word to describe it there. So
we've talked about the damage that losing Ertel easily has done, but Turman's really came in and stepped up defensively in this game so far, getting multiple pressures and being an absolute pest to Springer at QB here. This will be 2nd down. Bit of a high snap. She collects it, tosses. Right into the breadbasket. That would be number 20, Faith Brown.
Big time reception for Faith Brown. The ball sailed over a few Arrow defenders there. It just fell right into the lap of Faith Brown right there, so great job.
And this should give them another first down here. Marching up the field. It's good to see the pass game still an option here for Heidelberg.
One thing you want to do is just try to keep the passes a little bit lower than they should. You don't want to sail them too high in the air.
Especially, and that'll be to 27, whose flag is immediately ripped by Hampton. That pass was to Nzaya Estep.
A little bit of the pitch and catch, if you will, but Estep not really able to gain as much as she wanted to up the field, but she does snap the ball for Heidelberg here.
It should be second down, I believe. Springer getting ready to take the snap. Dulé next to it, running back. Springer looks to pass. And it's picked off. There's a flag thrown, but Bogdan on the interception, who loses a flag. Springer gets revenge and gets the flag pulled, but we'll have to see what this flag could be.
Looked like it was on the Heidelberg side of the field, so the INT might stand here, but as you mentioned, Grady, we'll have to just to wait and listen here.
And it looks like the interception will stand as they're switching offense and defense as both teams. And this might be crucial. Ursuline might come down, take the lead, and march down the field on this one.
And we talked about the passing game. Springer right there just let the ball sail a little bit too high there. It was easy taking for Bridget Bogdan there, number 18 for Ursuline. So, tough break.
And I'm really impressed with how Ursuline's playing right now. A lot of these players could have done a bit better in the first game. However, they're playing to nearly full potential right now, showing us what all they got. We've seen plays from multiple players already, and it's early second quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to put that first game behind you because it's irrelevant at this point. Focus on what's ahead of you.
And this pass to Hampton by Minor, who Hampton still hasn't had her flag pulled, and now it is pulled by number 10, Livy Matthews. Hampton still being a big option right here for them.
Looked like Madison Hampton almost threw a stiff arm there as he was trying to get off some of the defenders there. But,
I mean, like you said, her ability to come off the snap and turn around, catch a curl, it's just something that's really helped Minor get an option when she needs one.
But you also have to wonder if that's something that Heidelberg on defense will have to take care of, because it's almost like a safety blanket, almost, if you think about it, because if that option isn't there, you're going to have to make Minor beat you down the field, and the chances of you coming away with the turnover are pretty high.
And she'll pass here. And it looked to be pass interference against Dulé. We'll see what it's called. McKay wasn't able to get any further upfield running into Dulé. We'll see.
I think they're going to get Dulé on a push there. She was making a lot of contact with Natalie McKay right there.
Didn't seem too intentional. Just looked like two people going up for the ball, and you like to see that aggression on defense. However, in this instance, it's going to award Ursuline some yards.
Yeah, from our viewpoint, as you mentioned, it didn't look like Dulé pushed out an elbow or anything like that. It was just two individuals fighting for the ball. But you can make the argument that she could have had her arm somewhat on her back, which can be classified as pass interference, but new fresh set of downs for the Arrows.
Minor back at QB, takes a snap, starts running, goes upfield, makes it pass, makes a move. Dulé able to get it. And Dulé's really been stellar so far in defense other than that play that just happened.
And if Minor has a little bit more of a bounce out to that outside against Dulé there, you could be talking about how she went into the end zone for 6 right there, because she had, from our viewpoint, a lot of breathing room and a lot of green to really work with there.
Yes, she did. Starting going to the left and cutting back right as the stadium lights come on here on the Student Green and Bowling Green. It's passed off to Turman, who still runs and gets in the end zone, making the score 12-6, Ursuline. I thought she might have had a flag pull there, but she was able to get by it.
You had the defenders of Persinger. Looked like Dulé was in there as well as Matthews in there, and somehow Turman was able to stay in bounds the entire time. Remarkable.
While keeping the flag on her jersey. This is going to help them They've totally bounced back. They've put that first game behind them. They're gonna go to what looks like a try from the 3-yard line, which would give them 1 point. This has to be a pass.
It's actually a run here. And it's Minor in there as well. Wow.
Should make the score 13-6 here against Ursuline.
There's a little bit of a switch up there with Bridget Bogdan getting the snap there instead of Minor there.
And we saw that a few times in the first quarter, and I was wondering when we would see it again. I guess this was the perfect time for them to pull that play out.
It definitely got them to where they needed to be, and for the first time in both games tonight, Ursuline with the lead.
And it looks like we have reached a 2-minute warning here in the first half. Once again, the score is 12-6 Ursuline. Heidelberg coming back out on the field, seeing if they can do a 2-minute offense and get some points onto the board.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle this 2-minute warning, how they're going to be able to drive the ball down the field, whether it's a mix of run or pass.
And it looks like Coleman's in at QB here, with Springer on the sideline.
Yeah, Springer walking back to the sideline, taking almost majority of the steps, so that's very peculiar to see right there.
And Coleman's only had a 1 at QB so far this game. Dulé lined up next to her. She steps back, passes up, and it is bobbled twice and intercepted by Lisa Noga, number 5 for Ursuline, immediately turning the tables and maybe making this a 2-score game.
I have never seen that before in my life, Grady. Bobbled twice by 2 other Ursuline defenders, but as you mentioned, Lisa Noga was able to come away with that, and now once again it's Arrow's ball here, and now they have a chance to go up 2 scores.
It looks like it was number 8, Logan Shirley, and Isabella Brancanti who did the tips.
And you can see Lisa on the sideline just recollecting what their teammates just saying, I didn't know that was going to happen. Unbelievable set of circumstance for Ursuline here.
Minor takes the snap, passes, little high, it's tipped, nearly picked off by Dulé.
Olivia Dulé once again getting a hand on the football right there.
And she's really... This will be a 2nd down attempt here for Ursuline, as Persinger comes off. Pardon me, that was Unzaya East step. Minor looks right, looks to pass. Bogdan up, open, nearly comes down with it. Gets knocked against 2 defenders.
Looks like a flag was thrown, and then there is a piece of laundry on the field, and looks like there's a player down right there. I think that might be Madison Hampton there, and it is.
Yes, it is. We have a... And we'll be right back. We'll take a quick break here. Don't go anywhere. We'll have more football coming up. Welcome back, all WBGU viewers here on YouTube. Luckily, the injured player was able to get up, walk off the field on her own power, and all best wishes to her. While during the delay, we had the stadium lights come on. The atmosphere immediately got bigger. We saw both Heidelberg and Ursuline sidelines get all excited, and we'll see how this happens. See how the rest of the night plays out as Ursuline takes the ball.
Always a fun feeling when the lights come on here, especially the new outside Perry Field for when the BGSU marching band comes to practice here. Always fun to see.
And Turman almost picked that pass up. Could have been a decent gain for them. Just wanted to update you guys with Hampton being hurt. Branconti is now playing center for Ursuline here.
And Hampton being one of the bigger targets for Minor when it comes to snapping the ball, definitely a big loss.
As Minor takes off and runs, tries to get outside on number 5, who does, and Minor gets around 3 defenders there, puts it in. This now makes it 19-6.
What an unbelievable job from Minor there, just able to get to the outside. But not only that, she kept going, but she was able to cut back to the inside and make that defender miss and just pretty much have a free walk in, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the potential for it all last game, getting so close, but BG's defense able to stop them in the secondary. We knew this would eventually happen, though. We all saw it coming. The speed is there. It's Bogdan's in for quarterback. They go for the 2-point try. They hand it off to Minor, who still keeps her flag, still running, but it is pulled by Coleman, and the score remains 19-6.
And you also saw number 20, Faith Brown, in the mix as well. So Heidelberg a little bit upset, if you will, after that, giving up that big touchdown from Ursuline there, but a good job keeping that conversion limited.
So 19-6 here. The Student Princes need to start a comeback. Still have a little over 2 quarters left, but so you see number 8, Logan Shirley, come in the game for Ursuline. All right, here comes Heidelberg back on, hoping to start a catch up.
We're also seeing Maddie Brillhart back out at QB as well, where we originally saw Alexia Coleman on that last Heidelberg offensive drive.
She takes the snap, passes, that's a long one. That's going to number 10. Ooh, had it in the breadbasket. Just close.
And that was Livy Matthews there, and if she catches that ball, there is a good chance that she is off to the races there. Big time missed opportunity for Matthews there.
I like the play call. You got to let it fly. You're starting to slip a bit in the score. I think you should go right back at it. Passers got to pass. You know what they say in basketball, shooters got to shoot. Just keep doing it. Keep giving yourself a chance. So we'll see if they do it again here. Springer gets ready for the snap, takes it. Saw the pressure coming, decides to take it herself. Passes it just a bit in front to number 5 there. That was Maddie Brillhart.
And you got to give credit for Springer there, trying to be aware of the situation because, of course, just like in regular football, once you're past the line of scrimmage, you have to go. There is no letting off that ball unless it's a backward pass. You can't throw a forward pass. So great job by Springer there being aware there. She was just behind the line of scrimmage.
Dulé comes in alongside Maddie Brillhart, making it a... Looks like Dulé's taking the snap and running it herself. She busts out to the right side, gets the first down for them before stepping out of bounds near midfield.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of a wildcat there, as they would like to call it, where normally Dulé would get the handoffs there. She decides to take it for herself. The snap was given to herself there, and just able to get around the outside there and pick up the yardage that Heidelberg need right there.
I like the call there, too, as well. I mean, you got to get crafty. What you've done so far hasn't necessarily worked. So finding new options and finding things to get yourself back in this game is going to be a top priority to them. We'll see if they keep this going and score before the half ends. You got Springer back in at quarterback with Brillhart in the backfield. Springer takes a snap. Turman in the backfield already. And she grabs Brillhart's flag before she even knew what was happening. Probably a gain of about 2 or 3. And it looks like either a timeout or halftime here. We'll let you know as soon as we find out. We're seeing a little bit more life out of Heidelberg right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Heidelberg probably a little bit upset with how this first half has been going. And that's really got to light a fire under you for the most part. And you have a whole second half of football to really come back and try to make a game out of this. And we'll see what Heidelberg will do right here to change it up, but also what Ursuline will do to keep that consistency moving forward.
Yes, I think that's important. I mean, and I think they've already done a good first step in bouncing back after the start that Heidelberg had. 3 plays, and then you had a massive touchdown for over at least 30 yards. But they were able to bounce back and haven't let them score since. As they look like they come back out on the field, Springer in the backfield. And it looks like at running back we have Jada Pantalia. First time we've mentioned her this broadcast. Springer takes a snap. Passes, that's a deep ball. Coleman snags it. Beautiful work, and the flag is pulled.
Falling backwards right there, Alexia Coleman, but what a job. Pure concentration on the football right there, and was able to get it to where it needed to be on that reception. So, and a great job by Maddie Springer to get that ball from point A to point B.
I also want to point out the clock management by their coach, Alex Castro. After both of those last 2 plays, immediately calling timeouts, giving them more time, giving them another chance to score. And if they do another play just like that, that pass would land in the end zone.
Exactly, and you know, with little time remaining in the first half here, scoring here would definitely be big if you were able to take that momentum into the second half.
And it looks like they're coming back out after the timeout. Springer at QB, Pantaleon stays in the game. Coleman lines up at wide out. And it looks like we have 2 on each side for receivers. Getting ready to take the snap here. Springer takes it. Steps back, Turman pressures. She might have got there before, and she did. Looks like Turman picks up her 2nd sack of the game.
And you hear the Heidelberg coach saying, get set, get set. Time is of the essence right here in the first half.
It's starting to know huddle. They need to get something, and they need to get it quick.
High snap.
As she runs, passes, swatted away by Bogdan, who's really played well defensively in this game so far.
There is a flag laid down back on the Heidelberg side right here, so we'll be interested to see what that's all about.
Just a reminder as to why it's so important that Heidelberg scores here. They're not going to start the second half with the ball, making them easily, potentially, giving up a bigger lead. So anything to keep them in the game and keep everything ahead should be good.
And that penalty marker will go to Heidelberg there. They called it an illegal forward pass on Maddie Springer there, which is what I was just talking about a little bit earlier with being aware of where the line of scrimmage is and not going too far forward.
As she sends it decently deep this time, a little bit over Coleman.
Coleman a little bit slow getting up right there, and you kind of saw her slam her fist to the ground right there as she fell backwards there, feeling a little bit frustrated that she should have came away with that.
And it looks like we have entered halftime here. And then we're going to toss it real quick. We'll be right back. Don't you go anywhere. We have a second half of football coming up.
Founded in the Midwest, Bowling Green State University is embracing innovation to push the norms of higher education. Academic programs that are in high demand, research that is relevant for our communities, partnerships that strengthen our economy. nationally recognized for our student experience, and home to one of the largest scholarship programs of its kind in the nation. We are a hard-working public university, always striving forward, always for the public good.
Welcome back, all WBGU viewers here on YouTube. I'm Grady Lautenslager, joined by Carter Leonard, and it was an exciting first half. Big offensive explosion for Ursuline. What did you see from Ursuline in this first half?
A little bit of anger and redemption there for Ursuline. I think that this is the most fight that they've shown all night so far, and that's not to insult them or anything like that, but just they've really came out swinging in this game. You know, after the first game, they really had to change the blueprint a little bit of how to approach these sorts of games, and so far it's really been them putting their foot on the gas throughout the entire first half, but they need to keep it going throughout the rest of the second if they want to come away with a win.
Yes, they have, and Bogdan as well, putting up good numbers defensively, stepping up for this team in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Bridget Bogdan, who was a big player, big key player that we mentioned earlier in the first game. She's making her presence known once again in game number 2. So you can only imagine that her presence is going to be continued to known throughout the entirety of the second half. But I'll be interested to see how Heidelberg approaches the second half, because before we went to the halftime break, you saw them move the ball down the field, and you're thinking, oh, this is a great chance for them to finally get on the board and see what happens. But then penalties and untimely mistakes costed them from making this a closer game than the scoreboard actually says.
As the teams are starting to come back on the field, just want to remind you guys, there is yet another game right after this one, that being Bowling Green taking on Heidelberg.
Should be interesting to see how that game comes on. Bowling Green, of course, winners of the first game against Ursuline when that took place earlier today at 5:30. Let's see. We'll have to wait and see if Bowling Green goes 2 for 2 tonight.
Full game under the lights. I know both teams are going to be excited. I know I'm excited. You got to be too, Carter.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, the lights are on now. The sun is setting behind us, which I know the cameras don't have the shot perfect right now, but behind us, it's probably one of the most beautiful sunsets that I've seen here in my time living in Bowling Green, Ohio. Just couldn't get any better than this.
100% could agree. I mean, you got a beautiful sunset and football in front of your eyes. What is there to complain about?
Hardly anything.
Exactly. As Ursuline comes on the field, it looks like they have Miner in at QB, Turman taking snap at running back. And would you look at that? Back in the game, we have Selena Rose at Trell Easley. And she immediately takes a handoff, trying to run outside. She gets outside, tries to move back right, still going, and gets her flag pulled eventually by number 25, Lydia Blackburn.
And welcome back at Trell Easley.
Yeah, and that's a big pickup for them. I mean, crucial player in the first game.
Yeah, and in between that intermission break between game 1 and game 2, we saw her sitting down on the sidelines with an ice pack on what was on her right ankle. So that's something to keep an eye on throughout the rest of this game, of how that ankle is going to stabilize as she tries to make those cuts upfield.
Yes, it will, and it's going to be good for them to have her back. It's a delayed handoff to Turman comes, and she runs immediately upfield, getting them near a first down. Actually, she might have gotten them a first down, if not 2.
Turman almost had that breakaway speed there almost, and she was able. Obviously, the hole was closing in a hurry between her and those Heidelberg defenders, but if she was able to make both of them miss, then oh boy.
Oh, yeah. See if she tries again. Miner in the backfield passes this off to Easley, who cuts upfield immediately, gets past 1, gets past 2, still going, gets past 3, and they called her down just because she is tripped up. No flag was ever pulled. Welcome back to the game, Selena Rose or Trell Easley.
And Easley also took yet another tumble there, which is how in the first game she ended up exiting. But this time around, she was able to get up, and she's still in it to win it there. But what a big gain for number 11 right there.
If she didn't stumble there, that would have been another 6 points for Ursuline, immediately bringing the energy from the first half into the second. Still looks like she's bothered a little bit by that leg. However, the speed has not seemed to fallen off from that at all. Miner takes a snap, looks, passes deep, and that is picked off. Persinger running. She just has to beat Miner. And she was not able to. However, that sends it back almost near the half of the field.
Yeah, Miner was able to get there just in a hurry, but just all the momentum that Ursuline had trying to run up the score than what it is right now just completely diminished with that turnover to Jewel Persinger. So for Heidelberg now, this is a massive opportunity that they really need to take advantage of right here. And you can only imagine what the head coach is saying in that huddle right now, saying, hey, we just came away with a big turnover. Now is the time to really take advantage of up the tempo, up the pace, and get back in this game.
Exactly. And just like you said, the momentum was taken away from them on that interception. That also gives momentum here to Heidelberg. Come out here. It looks like at quarterback now we have Jada Panalia.
This is the third different QB rotation that we've seen out of Heidelberg today, from whether it's the likes of Coleman, Springer.
Immediately swallowed Lisa Noga there, who had the massive interception for Ursuline earlier, able to get that sack. Believe that would be the third of the game here for Ursuline. Main quarterback Springer over on the far left as a wideout right now.
And Persinger is going to checking into the game.
And Persinger is now taking quarterback, making that the fourth quarterback they've used.
Yeah, Pantelo immediately sprinted off back to the sideline.
And yet again, they're sacked. Also again by Noga.
You got to give Persinger credit there. It looked like that may have been number 10 of Livy Matthews there, had a wide open read right there. And correction, that's actually Haley Damron that was wide open there from that slot receiver position. So missed opportunity there.
Noga's already rushing again. She gets blocked to throw. Springer slipped, got back up, and caught the ball. That was right on the marker. It'll be close to see where they mark it, but if they get a first down here, that will be crucial.
Almost the exact same play as last time. This time you were able to get it from point A to point B, this time to the likes of Springer. So
they mark it short here, it looks like. Fourth down, they're going to be going for it.
This is a huge fourth down conversion right here if Heidelberg is able to get it here, but you got to get it.
Persinger takes it, hands it off to Pantaleo, who looks like she will get it. It'd be close. It was right on the line. She might have had a foot over. See how it's called here, and it looks like they're switching. Minor's coming back out, and they didn't get it. That will be a turnover on downs for Heidelberg.
Looked like she got it initially. Looked like she was well over the line before the flag was pulled, and the judge on the far end of the field was, as you mentioned, Grady, was right on the line. So not really sure if I wholeheartedly agree with that call, but the show must go on, as one might say.
Yes, it will. Minor takes and looks. Whistles are blown. Looks like a timeout called for Heidelberg. We're going to step aside here, take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more football for you guys. Welcome back, all WBGU viewers. I'm Grady Lottenslinger, joined by color analyst Carter Leonard. We're back from this brief timeout as Ursuline takes the ball here. This will be a first down for them after the turnover on downs. It looks like you got a stack on the close side with Easley. Oh. And it looks like some confusion on the field here as the snap bobbles.
And Ashley Shalat's quick to the point, as you could hear, probably could hear her over our mic yelling out, "What are we doing?" here on that one play.
Backs them up a little bit, but we'll see how they redeem themselves as Minor steps back, takes a throw, and there's another flag thrown here. False start called on Ursuline, so they're backing up yet again.
Yeah, on the line right there, it looked like that you kind of saw them lean back just a little bit in order to fire off a little bit faster off the line. So, of course, in any form of football, you cannot do that whatsoever. So, another costly penalty for Ursuline right here.
Luckily, though, they've seemed to have their offense working. As Easley's way back there right now. Same with Turman. All right, they're moving up here. We'll see how this goes. This should be a third down, I believe. Minor steps back, passes to Zoe Eckler, who's still going, and her flag is pulled by both number 10, Livy Matthews, and number 35, Olivia Dule. Once again, Dule making efforts defensively for this team.
Yeah, Dule has just been really all over the field tonight. No matter what side of the ball that you put her on, she has done a fantastic job.
Yes, she has. She's been one of the key players for this team, who is still hurting from losing their wide receiver in like the third play of the game. Oh, and that's a high snap.
A sky-high snap at that over the head of Miner there.
As it looks like they're probably going into punt formation as Brancanti comes back, gets ready to go. We've only seen her punt once today, only once in the previous game. It's a pretty good punt. We'll see how far she gets them backed up here.
And both Persinger and Matthews are the far back recipients as well as Springer.
And it looks as Coleman's a little bit further up front. The kick is up. It's back right to Coleman. Couldn't get there. And they're going to blow it dead.
I'm not so sure if Coleman touched it right there when she was trying to receive the ball, as of course it was a little bit short in front of her to catch it, but
that's what I'm wondering as well. It did have a little backspin, the kick did. But this will give Heidelberg another chance to come back and get themselves on the board. Close in this gap of scoring here. It was a good start for them to stop Ursuline defensively. That's been something that wasn't going so good in the first half, and they were able to make it happen. So if they can bounce back and get the offense going.
Yeah, but for the case of Heidelberg, it's really all about taking advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you, because you never know when another Ursuline mistake is going to end up happening, whether it's a turnover, whether it's just not able to complete passes, not able to get the ball upfield. It's all about taking advantage and try to create momentum for yourself. But there have been instances in this game where Heidelberg has been gifted those opportunities on a silver platter, but just can't take advantage of it the way they need to.
Persinger is still at quarterback, hands it off here to Dule, who almost got her flag taken. Still doesn't, stays inbounds, and it's taken by Bogdan. That should give them the first down here. Going back to what you said, I completely agree, especially with Easley coming back from injury there. Easily their best defensive player the previous game. It's only going to make things a little bit tougher here for Heidelberg. Persinger taking it again, as there's a flag. And that looks like a false start called on Heidelberg. Looks like that one might have been called on Dule.
And it's just those mental errors right there, especially costly penalties like that that will back you up a certain amount of yards that prevents you from going upfield like that. So it's all about really having better awareness of when the ball is snapped and where you get that cadence and where you get that clapping of the hands right there. So another tough penalty for Heidelberg.
Dule moves in closer. That was a handoff that wasn't transferred. Doesn't look like too much yards was lost. However, they need to get a gain going.
Yeah, Persinger trying to hand it off to Brillhart right there, but just didn't really align into the hands of Brillhart when she was trying to take that snap right there. So, unfortunate.
Once again, the pressure from Ursuline is just wreaking havoc on this Heidelberg offense. Persinger takes a snap, looks, passes. That's picked off by Brancanti, who drops it. Yeah, and that will be confirmed an interception, as I believed it was. Got a few steps there.
Believe the ruling is that when a defender intercepts the ball, but then takes a few steps and then their flag is pulled, no matter if they drop it at the end or not, it is still ruled an interception. So once again, those mistakes from Heidelberg, including turnovers, and that's just a pure case of it right there.
And the score will remain 19-6 as Ursuline looks to get some insurance here on this drive. Miners still at QB. Steps back, looks, passes deep. Good defense by Persinger, swatting it down.
Also saw a little mix of Coleman in there as well. So that was a 2-on-1 situation there from the jump.
And as you see, Bogdan not too happy. And that looks like we're coming to the end of the third quarter. Like I was saying, as you can see, Bogdan maybe thought there was a pass interference there.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a little bit of contact there. And we've seen in game one, Grady, we saw an instance where there was a little bit of contact that was enough to draw a pass interference penalty. But right there, looked a little bit about the same, but there was, of course, no call there. So I'm very interested to see what the difference is in between those two rulings as to how they got the outcomes in the first place. Of course, when you draw those penalties, you can only draw a certain amount of contact, and right there, I guess, just wasn't enough for Bogdan to really get the penalty she wanted.
But I like the aggression there defensively. They're gonna need to get takeaways at this point. We're entering the fourth quarter. They're running out of time. It's still doable. They can still come back from this. They got to be smart with the football of their own and take advantage of Ursuline's limited mistakes, as you said earlier.
100%.
As teams are coming back on the field here as we start the fourth quarter. Minor steps back at QB as we have trips off to the right.
Flipping the field as you would normally do throughout quarters here, and Heidelberg going from right to left here.
Minor steps back, takes, looks, throws. It's up high. Bogdan jumps, nearly gets it. Bogdan really being covered these last two plays defensively.
Looked like Sprainer was able to get a hand on it, which was what caused the deflection in the first place. So Heidelberg trying to show tough defensive efforts while still being down late in this game.
And I will say, other than the first half, they have played well defensively in this second half. As it's a handoff here to Turman, who runs around easily. Looks like they fold the defense. And it wasn't until number 5, Maddie Brillhart, got the flag. But it looks like it gets them a first down here.
I'm just curious as to where the pressure was. You let Turman get that much separation from the snap of the ball and let her gain that many yards up the field. Just not enough pressure being put on. There's not enough aggressiveness right there.
I agree 100%. I mean, it looked like she had days to run until Brillhart realized and came over and made the play. Takes another snap. It's off to easily. And that is number 20. Faith Brown making a stop here.
I guess Faith Brown must have hurt me at the top of the booth right here. I mean, just that's that pressure that you're looking for right there, plain and simple.
Yes, it is. Had him lose a few yards here, keeping him honest, keeping him at bay. Keep making plays like this. They're might have to pass here, and he could get another interception here, which would be very helpful. But let's start by keeping defense important here on Heidelberg. As Minor sits back, takes the pass, hands it off to Turman again, who gets around. He gets around Springer, still going. Passes 10. She's going. Turman, touchdown. That's 6 points. Making it 25-6. Unfortunately, it looks like she might be hurt after that play. You hate to see it. Ursuline's dealt with so many.
Looks like she may be dealing with a cramp here, but
we're going to step the break here. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We have the rest of this fourth quarter coming up.
Founded in the Midwest, Bowling Green State University is embracing innovation to push the norms of higher education. Academic programs that are in high demand, research that is relevant for our communities, partnerships that strengthen our economy. nationally recognized for our student experience, and home to one of the largest scholarship programs of its kind in the nation. We are a hard-working public university, always striving forward, always for the public good.
Welcome back. We're here in the fourth quarter. The score is 25-6 Ursuline. They're looking to add more here right now as Miner goes to take the snap, steps back, runs it herself, gets caught by Faith Brown there, and they might have ended up losing yards there. And it looks like there will be a quick timeout here called by Heidelberg. Maybe talking some defensive strategy here. Because if Ursuline scores here, it's going to make this score almost nearly impossible to come back from with the time we have left. And I truly do think Heidelberg can do it, but it all comes down to making a defensive stop right here. So Ursuline's all back on the field, ready to go. And whistle's blown, and Heidelberg marches back on. And for the first time in a while, we'll see Springer back here at quarterback. And she looks, gets ready to take the snap. Runs it herself, looks, passes. A little too short, almost picked off by Branconti right there. As we look, this should be a second down play right here. Springer looks back in action. Gets ready. Takes the snap, runs right, passes. That one to Dule. Dule breaks through one, breaks through two. She's still running. She's past the half-yard line. She's still going. She cuts left. Has another defender to beat. She's free grass. Nothing else to run into. Touchdown, 6 points, Heidelberg. The score is now 25-12. Beautiful run there by Dule. As that's exactly what they needed to happen to make a comeback in this game here. Nearly going the length of the field. Nothing but green grass ahead of her, and there's 6 on the board for the Heidelberg Student Princes. But there's a little strategy being talked here, and they come out for their try. Looks like this will be a 1-point try. Springer at quarterback. Gets ready to take the snap. Fakes left, cuts right, tosses over. Couldn't get it to go, and the score will stay 25-12. As Ursuline takes over on offense. More talking on the sideline here by Heidelberg. Castro making sure all his players understand the assignment. It's exhilarating play there by Heidelberg to score. Unfortunately, the try didn't go. But let's see if they play good defensively here. Give themselves another chance to come back in this ballgame. Miner stays at quarterback. Looks to take the snap from Zackler. Passes. Sorry, that's a handoff here to Easley, who does a spin move, gets through before she trips. Sorry. Yes, she went through before she tripped, giving them a first down here. And that's been a key player to get back after being injured from last game. So one play, picking up a first down for Ursuline. As Heidelberg's defense gets set and ready to go. Center Zoeckler motioning the offense how the formation she wants. 3 wide receivers rush to the left. Looks like trips there. And Miner gets ready to take the snap. And flags are thrown. False start on Ursuline. So this will back them up a bit. So coming back, Miner talking to the offense here, getting everything set up. Still have 3 on the left side, 1 on the right. Miner comes back, looks, passes. Nearly caught by Bogdan before swatted away by Coleman. Good defensive effort by Heidelberg there, and you have to wonder if they're making a play to come back in this game here. They get ready for this play here. Myra gets back. 3 on the right, 1 on the left, top of your screen there. Miner comes back, steps, passes. Zoeckler comes up, makes the catch. Knocks Coleman on the ground, but Coleman comes up with the flag. Delay comes in here as we have reached a 2-minute warning. So if any magic needs to happen tonight for Heidelberg, it's got to happen soon. Miner looks, runs left, keeps going, breaks, comes back right, bobbles the ball, catches it. So it picks up a first down here for Ursuline.
And to make note of this game as well, the temperature has surprisingly dropped. Grady, when you and I were up here earlier in the afternoon, it was still long sleeve weather, but it was doable, it was bearable, and now we've broken out the jackets and gloves here and beanies, so that's a bit of a change up.
It really makes you wonder how these players are out here in shorts and t-shirts and still performing.
When you are running around a lot, the temperature doesn't really seem to bother you all that much.
That is pass off to Turman, whose flag gets pulled by Coleman. So it looks like this might be 4th down here. Maybe. sorry, it's second down here, guys. As it looks like Bogdan's going to take this snap at quarterback. Minor's set up to her left. Bogdan takes it, handoff to Minor, just beats a defender rushing in, cuts to the right, past another one. Misses the flag, gets his shirt, falls down, but another first down. And they're within 10 yards of another touchdown here.
Brillhart nearly had Minor stop there for a second, but instead of grabbing the flag, she ended up grabbing the back of her jersey right there, and that's not going to do you much good right there. So, but Minor, once again, a big run, as we have mentioned, constantly throughout the night, continuing to use those wheels, and just that has been her strong suit.
Yes, it has. And it's been really fun to watch as well. Once she gets going, it's hard to have anybody catch up to her. Look here. And it looks like that's the end of the game. Ursuline coming out on top 25-12. Good bounce back from the first game. But don't go anywhere.
And we mentioned earlier the theme of the game was the redemption for Ursuline, and they were able to come out of game 2 on top as winners, as you mentioned, Grady.
Well, alongside my broadcast partner tonight, I'm Grady Lautenslager, Carter Leonard on color commentary. But don't be going anywhere. There's game 3 coming up right after this. Heidelberg Student Princess will stay on the field and take on the Bowling Green Falcons. Thank you for watching today on WBGU on YouTube. WBGU Sports Flex, sorry. And we'll be right back. We have more action after this. Stay tuned. The next live stream will kick off just after this.